Hello, good morning. Gary Champion, psychic medium. I discovered a book I'd been writing in 2016 and for some reason shelved it. And now having kind of read through it, I understand why I shelved it because it was kind of controversial. And it sort of was about people becoming more independent and less tribal. Humans are tribal. We belong to tribes. You have church tribes, you have work tribes, you have vacation tribes, you have hobby tribes. Um, Church is a tribe. You're a Methodist, Presbyterian, Catholic, Jewish, and Holy Roller, which is one my grandmother used to talk about. She said she liked the music the best, dancing and loud music. She used to love it. That's what she attended. I think my aunt did too. She talked about it one day. And if at some point you become disenchanted with the tribe that you belong to, let's say you're a steel worker and you want to become a bricklayer, you can change from one tribe to another. It takes a little effort, but you can do it. You have to learn new skills. But tribes are all the same. You're switching one form of control for another. You don't think that there's a tribe there. There is. There's a liturgy. You go along with it. You talk about it. You repeat it often enough. Pretty soon you believe it. Sort of a brainwashing. If you work for a guy who has a certain philosophy, and it goes from the top down. Pretty soon you're infused with whatever his philosophy is, and you say it often enough, you sort of get brainwashed into it, and pretty soon you begin to believe it, even though it's maybe not your program. Military, that's a very big tribe. They break you down, they wear you out, they punish you, they do all kinds of things to you to rebuild you into something that they can use. Because a million people with different ideas do not make an army. A million people with the same goal, that's an army. So the army is not the real world either. They have rules that don't have anything to do with the real world. They can establish whatever rules they want, apparently. And they tell you how long to sleep, when to get up, what you're going to do, cleaning your gun, marching in the field, doing exercises, obstacle courses, taking classes on various things, broaden your perspective. But make no doubt, it's a brainwashing. Don't think it's not. It's a form of brainwashing, and anybody that's been in the military will tell you so. They may not think of it as that, but once you explain it to them, and say, "Yeah, it's pretty much." And like years later, they're still saying "sir" to people like me. Say, "I'm not a sir. I'm barely an adult," but they do it all the time. That's how you know they've been in the military. They've been brainwashed to say it, and 20 years after being in the military, they still say it all the time. They still cut their hair. Guys cut their hair the same way. Most of them. The little mustache that has to fit in by, it has to be off the lip and all. Anyway, you get the idea. And what tribes do is lock you into a way of thinking that keeps you from growth. When you change from one tribe to another, then you have growth. But it's still limited because the people who run that tribe are telling you what to think, what to wear. Can't wear this, got to wear that. Even if it's a terrible looking uniform that makes you look like a large plum. Somebody knows what I'm talking about for those of you who wear that uniform. And the dye that's in the outfit comes off and makes your skin itch. You still have to wear it. What I am proposing is that in the future there'll be fewer tribes because there'll be less need for them because people are becoming more psychic. Psychic people can't be locked into a philosophy all that easily because we leapfrog in a way of thinking. We see things before they happen. I would have been in Leavenworth had I been drafted into the military. I didn't get drafted in. I was available. I had my 1A card and was standing by. They just didn't call my number for some reason. Not being the volunteering type, I would have, because I don't follow rules. I'm not able to do that. I will follow a rule if I have to. If I have to stand in line to place in order to get a hamburger, I'll do that. I don't like it. My wife can tell you I chafe and move around and stomp around like, yeah, just, or, anytime I have to stand in line or go through a ritual to get into something, to do something, I'm unhappy with it. I can't seem to follow the rules of the road. And I've been successful not following the rules of the road. And as I'm saying in this video, that eventually a lot of us will be that way. I'm already there, but future generations will be more psychic than me. Certainly many, many more psychic mediums. There's been an explosion of it. Now, whether any of them are real or not, it's your judgment, but they seem to be everywhere. And psychic mediums, since they have a clear view of things, are able to avoid the pitfalls that most people do. I don't belong to any group that I'm aware of. I've not affiliated myself with any of them. I bank at a certain bank, but I don't listen to, again, I chafe at the rules. I got to get into something there and I have to stand around. I don't care for it. They have their rules. I understand that. But rules are for people who like rules, and I don't like rules. I've lived my whole life without most of them. And when I did have a lot of rules, I didn't do very well. It's only out here where there are no rules that the world makes sense to me. Make up your own rules. That's what the future is going to be. You can no longer follow the crowd. And why? Because it's dumb anyway. The crowd gets you in trouble. Oh, Billy says we should all go do this. Let's go do what Billy does. It may be fine for Billy, but it may not be fine for you. But we tend to group in groups and packs. It's like animals do. Dogs run in a pack. We sort of follow the leader. Those who don't are usually far more successful than those who do. Those who do follow the pack are repeating something that's already been done over and over and over again. You're not doing anything new. You're following down a carefully laid path that someone else has set up for you to do. Little obstacle course, like in the military. You're being programmed. But I'll say it's up to you to decide what your program is. And in the future, the more psychic people there'll be, and everybody will be able to know thoughts of other people. Communication will in large part depend upon that. Our brains will be larger. The part of the brain that does that, which I know it's the right side of my brain because it tingles and lights up when I'm doing readings or figuring the world out, negotiating the obstacles put up by other people who do belong to a tribe that I'm trying to avoid. Following a leader gets you nothing. Gets you a job, you can raise kids, you can have a house, but spiritually it doesn't do much for you. When you have the freedom to decide for yourself what to do, that's when real living sort of occurs. Taking chances, because you see in your mind, you feel that this is going to work for you. Someone says, oh, don't do that. Oh, well, that's too risky. You don't want to do that. You want to do something like what I do. Those are people who aren't, gee, I'm sort of saying bad things about you, aren't I? I'm saying that if you're following in the footsteps of somebody else doing the same thing, unless you do it in a different way, you don't really exist. Your father's a lawyer and you're a lawyer, but you're doing it in a different way. You have different insights, different strengths, different motivations. Then, yeah, that makes sense. If you're doing things exactly the same way your father did, you don't really exist. You're continuing a road that's already been traveled. Why go down a road that's already been traveled over and over and over again? To pay for a house? It's a big price to give up your spirituality and your programming when you were originally born. Your spirit had a programming. And then life and other people who create rules and structure to make you feel comfortable. We were talking about the other day in the car, my wife and I, that I had been an independent doing something, and then I had to work for various reasons for other people. I was making a lot of money for other people, and my spirit was kind of being squashed. Had to give it up. I was plowing the same ground that somebody else had plowed and planted the same seed and picked the same crop, whatever it was. And boredom is your enemy. Just some thoughts I had on tribal relationships and belonging to a tribe. Reduce the number of tribes you belong to. Yes, they add structure and they make you feel all safe and comfortable, but the world is not safe and comfortable. The world is chaotic. Even though it appears, I can look out on the street, I see the same lady walking the same corgi dog. I see her every morning writing on a book. I see her go by with her dog, or her husband goes by with a dog. But out there is chaos. If you think that tribal affiliations and rules and regulations affect that, they really don't. They give you a false sense of comfort. But spiritually, you grow when you pick a path that follows your programming. If I had math abilities, I'd be doing math in my own way. Enough of this. Go do something else. No fear, no regret, no anger. Thanks for watching.